here we go. We have our third game. We have Curious against Hero on Entombed Valley. The score is 1-1. Curious able to force the third game against
Liquid Hero.
The Protoss player to the bottom right. His first time in Kodas. Definitely really accomplished player. He has to make sure that he does not, well, that he does not have too many problems with nerves or whatever. He needs to play, show his A game today to learn his best level.
StarCraft Curious.
Because StarCraft Curious is definitely no pushover. He just showed on dual side how good he really is. And he is now facing his opponent on a map that is probably not really the map of his choice. Entombed Valley definitely a place where Zerg players struggle against Protoss. And once again, the 12th pool by Curious.
Yeah, seeing out another early pool. This means that Hero cannot comfortably nexus first. To make his forage before. And Hero doing some nice probe harassment on that mineral, making sure his opponent cannot get the optimal mining from that base. I think with the forge production, he probably wasn't able to perfectly micro it. Probably has to stop now. Nope, he actually still microed it. In fact, he's going for a drone. I underestimated this Hero. He actually will deny this hatchery for a little bit longer. Oh, no, not quite. You can see on the minimap, he wasn't able to block it, even though he was following that drone. Missed micro there.
Entombed Valley is a place where we see sometimes really weird strategies or unorthodox strategies, because Zerg is aware that it's a hard map to win, and therefore what they sometimes try to do is find an opening on all-in that is successful. Yesterday we've seen the Nexus steal, the expansion steal with the hatchery, and it was quite interesting to watch. But what usually happens when a Protoss player is getting 3 base on this map is that he will also be able to take a 4th base, because the distance between the 3rd and the 4th is very short, so you can just push out a little bit, take your 4th base. And if it comes to the late game, this is usually where the battle actually starts, because the Zerg will try to take a 4th, a 5th, a 6th to the top left in this with those positions that we see right now, and just attack with Broodlords or with Ultralights the 4th base of his opponent, and all Protoss has to do is try to win the defensive battle, get the mothership, and get the Archons for the Archon Toilet if there's a Broodlord combination. And this is just something that we've seen on Entombed Valley over and over again. Long games with ridiculously great unit compositions.
That's basically what I was saying earlier, and it becomes a positional game, almost like a TVT, really, with how positional it becomes later on. The Broodlord's always over that pit that you can see at the bottom of the Xel'Naga Watchtower's vision. There's a hole there that the Broodlords usually like to sit on to attack the crucial 4th base of the Protoss. Like you said, the entire top left should be taken by Curious. It's difficult for the Protoss to get out there and harass those expansions. He needs the mothership. And Hero was able to go and scout the gas right now of Curious, so he knows Curious isn't taking a fast 3rd, which on this map is fairly risky. At these positions, it's really good for Curious to take a fast 3rd. You know, it's the best scenario for him, but it's still very risky to do with the rocks still up, so I like his choice to get gas here. He may even put on some aggression.
And you made a very good point, by the way, when you mentioned just the very positional play in the late game, and with those gorges that we have, this is perfectly right. We've even seen carriers in the late game on this map, and something that a Protoss can do in order to attack his opponent's expansions, what we've seen in past games on this map, is, for example, a DT playing combination with Warp Prisms. That can be really good when the Zerg player is spread out very thinly and gets a ton of bases. And we've even seen some Zerg players just spread creep towards their opponent's 3rd or 4th and get tons of Spine Crawlers and Spore Crawlers, just slowly but steadily edging forward with those defensive structures and trying to lay siege on the Protoss plays, trying to make sure that the Protoss is not able to attack into the army. Yep. But we might not even see such a late game. We have now the follow-up for Hero, which is a Stargate.
Yep, Stargate follow-up, the 4+1. Very useful. Oh, look at this. You can see basically about 20,000 or 2,000 euro for GSL prize money and 40,000 euro in foreign tournament money. So in total about 42,000, I guess you could say. That's 3.3 million won or 61 million won approximately, if you want to have it in Korean.
And if you want to have it in dollars, just kill 3 of the zeros and then you're usually fine. So that would make $3,300 in GSL prize money won. This is roughly how it works.
Yep. Roughly, you're exactly right. And this is a position that is Curious has taken a late third, and by doing so, he's kind of confused Hero a little bit. Hero's not 100% sure what's going on because he scouted no third. He also scouted gas. He made an extra sentry. He's now destroying his rocks. He's moving out, checking for overlords with that Void Ray. And at these positions, it's very difficult to attack the third base of the Void Ray. He kind of has to take a weird path to avoid the creep. So really fortunate position for Curious in that regard. Burrow is on the way, which means since he hasn't seen Stargate, he predicts it's possible that he could be dealing with a gateway timing attack.
Which we don't see all this often. As we mentioned, getting a third is not that hard, so this is usually what Protoss does, not relying on the 2-base timing attack, but it's definitely a possibility. So I like that Curious is going to prepare for it. The Overlord getting into the main base, spotting obviously also the Void Ray that just killed it, and the 2 Spore Cores pop out immediately.
Yep. Got to be very careful. We saw, you know, a lot of damage done with the Phoenix in the last game, and Curious was still able to win the game, but it's not something he wants to have repeated. Robotics facility going down now. Does take out one Overlord, but he's not going to be able to do much else. In fact, his base is going to be delayed here. Look at how, speaking of delays, look at how delayed circling speed is, man. He doesn't even have that started yet, and that's really scary. That's kind of risky, but with the creep he has out, I feel pretty comfortable. Nice targeting down of a drone here.
His creep spread is actually great, considering that we don't even hit the 10-minute mark just yet.
Trying to target down an Overlord, he will get it, but at what cost?
And the Queen is doing some damage here.
He's going to have to cancel this base too. Oh my god.
Yeah, he cancels it. The Zerglings have to get out here, still without speed, as Wolf mentioned.
Oh man, the Roach is coming in here as well. Hero did not know.
My god, the first sentry is about to die as well. He just saves it. This is one lucky sentry.
Yeah, that was a really lucky engagement for Hero. He could have actually lost more, and yeah, now he's actually Curious knows it too. He's like, actually no, I think I can just kill everything here.
The Phoenixes are forced to retreat in order to deal with this, but another Stalker is going to die very, very soon. It goes for about... Micro's not... Well, Hero Micro's actually perfectly lit. Uses another lift. Saves his unit on the low ground. But at this point, we have both of them with a decent supply numbers. 100 for Hero, 112 for Curious, who's just now droning up again. Has the Spire on its way, and the 3-base scenario for the Protoss, as already mentioned earlier. So this is developing in exactly the late game scenario that we've been talking about. Exactly what we expect to see on this map, and definitely worth the third game between Hero and Curious here.
Yep, and we're going to see some drones picked off. Picking off gas drones, which takes a little bit longer, but it's more annoying to deal with. It forces opponents' immediate response to get those drones back in there.
At this point, it's really... Nice pick up here. And at this point, it's really important for Curious that he starts to transition to a late game. He needs to open up the tech tree that he can go to the hive tech, so I expect that we will see an infestation bit fairly soon, especially with him taking the 4th base. He's still pressuring Hero, which in my opinion is very good, but he needs to make sure that he does not overcommit. If he overcommits and a decent number of force fields go down for Hero, then suddenly Curious will find himself in a position where he loses way too many units, can't get the momentum going for him anymore, and will be vulnerable to counterattacks by Hero. So poking a bit is great, making sure that he may even be able to delay the 4th of the Protoss a little bit, but he has to start to prepare for the late game now. He has to start with his infestation bit.
This is embarrassing, losing Phoenixes in this fashion, but just get them away. And 5 Corruptors are on the way here as he continues to drone. The 4th base there with the creep spread is going to be so difficult to attack. He hasn't been able to successfully pressure that much with these units, so he's kind of feeling a little bit awkward. You can see a little bit of awkwardness in his play here as he's trying to decide what to do. He's going to attack here, knowing that he will likely lose some of his forces. Nice pick off and then getting away, but he didn't really do any real damage there. He's just scaring Hero, keeping him in his base while he techs up to the tech you're talking about. As far as I know, still no infestation hit, though.
And he has the number, so it seems like he is once again relying on his tier 2 units. I'm not quite sure if I really agree with this decision, especially because Hero seems to be prepared. He has Blink up, he has been building cannons in his mineral line, and we already have him with the Templar Archive, so Storm and Archons is something that he will add if the game, well, as the game continues. I'm really a little bit weirded out by the decision of Curious not getting this this infestation bit.
Yeah, well, he's going to lose some units here, but the Hero will lose some as well. If he can actually blink in, it'll be really impressive. Wow, really nice, and in fact, with the Hydras in that awkward position, they're going to take some damage. And Roach Burrow moving on the way. 14 Mutas. This tech choice is really weird.
Yeah.
This is not a good map for Mutas because the Mutas can't bounce between the bases very easily. They have to go all the way around. He's going to trap some of these units here, or at least try to. Pretty good trade for Hero now. If he blinks forward again, he'll get a few more.
The thing with the Mutalisk is that at first he will be able to do some damage, but I think that Hero will be able to defend against it.
I mean, yeah, he's Hero after all.
Yeah.
He's not behind like he was last game. If you're
Exactly.
ahead and you do Mutas on a map like this, you can just almost win the game.
And the Templar Archive is done, so
Yeah.
as the game prolongs, suddenly the Mutalisks will get less and less effective against the units that Hero uses here.
Well, we're going to actually see a pick-off of a Queen perhaps, but that's not going to be worth for Stalkers that decides to get out. Does not save all of them, but will catch a lot of roaches. This is really cute.
Very well done by Hero.
And the Mutas have to turn around. He should be able to get out in this narrow corridor. It's a very difficult place for a Zerg player to engage. Baneling Nest on the way. No infestation pit in sight.
I really don't like it.
It's like Curious is trying to bully his way into the late game. But look at this. Hero is a guy who will turtle on 3 bases so well and even get a 4th base now. 7 cannons in production, as you can see, and Templar Archives researching the Storm. There's another base going down for Curious. He just wants to bully his way into the late game rather than taking up quickly, but this does put him at a scary disadvantage here as he loses unit after unit.
He loses way too much and he can't fight here. He cannot fight. We have Hero doing exactly what he expected him to do. He's going for the 4th base and he's playing it very, very cautious, building so many cannons in his mineral lines as he spots the Mutalisks of his opponent. And this is I'm sorry to say it again, but it's really bad for Curious at this point.
Yeah, he's lost his creep spread in the center of the map. His opponent's heavily upgraded gateway units with the Mortal Sentry support are just going to be too much for him. He's made so much static defense back at home. This huge Mutalisk wave that you see on the right side of the minimap is not going to be able to do a lot. Yeah, he'll kill this Warp Prism. Actually, no, he won't. Yeah, he will. Well, the Warp Prism buys some time, but he can actually just defend back at home against this, no problem with the static defense he's already had in place with some Warp Ints. He has Templar out with Storm, yeah. Guess how well that Mutalisk harass is going to do against Storm? Not very well.
He will be able to do some damage, but he lost the base.
These static defenses and Stalkers are enough to buy time. The forces of Hero are coming back, and he will actually clean up these Stalkers, and he has the base at the top left remaining mining right now, but here come the Storms.
Is he able to?
Okay.
Oh, he storms his Templars as well and blinks in, but look at how much those Mutalisks did damage, but now they are down in the red, the 3rd base being attacked. He's not able to take them down, even using the Baneling. He did not succeed, and once again losing Mutalisks.
Yeah, see how difficult it is to harass the Mutas on this map? You can't balance between the bases. You actually have to take damage no matter where you go because there'll be units waiting for you. The Baneling harass seemed to be fairly effective. I don't know exactly the extent of the damage he did, but the supply is now in Hero's favor, and the worker count you can see is 67 to 68, 68 to 68 now, and the Banelings did some damage. I don't know exactly what they killed. I think they killed mostly cannons, but now Hero can attack and potentially end the game.
Hero is in a great position right now because, as already mentioned, the first attack with the Mutalisk, it did some damage, but from this point on, he won't be able to really pressure his opponent. There are Stalkers everywhere. The supply is now in favor of Hero as well with 181 to 161. Finally, the infestation pit, but already too late at 20 minutes into the game. It won't be able to accomplish much. We have the cannons once again defending, buying time for the Stalkers to be warped in. I'm a little bit surprised that we don't have High Templars in position for the Storms.
Yeah, I'm a little bit surprised. Neither High Templar nor Archon's in position to defend. This is a little bit uncharacteristic of Hero. These Mutas are accomplishing only that they are killing cannons, but he's going to lose a lot of Mutas here. At least 4, 5 going down there.
Too much.
Yeah, way too much.
He does not really trade cost efficient here, and he has to pay attention to it as he does not have 5 bases. He's on 4 right now against 4, but Hero is already taking another base as well. The Hive Tech finally hits, but Hero is about to be maxed out. He's actually in a really great position here, even able to take the 5th base.
Yeah, he's looking alright at this point. I mean, alright may be an understatement as he's got Templar with his army now to Storm Muse if they try to engage. I'm really surprised, like you mentioned earlier, that he does not have Templar at home to Storm. But he's just continuing to make cannons, and now he has Templar at home.
Now
Looks
we
like
have
he's
the
going to use
Templars.
Stalkers as well here. Curious trying to trade, but he's not in a situation where he can afford to do that right now.
You want to trade as a Zerg player as soon as you realize that your opponent has less resources than you, then you can always try to go for some kind of trade scenarios, but this is not happening right here. We have Curious still with a lot of gas and also minerals banked up, but he just has not the great income that he needs, and he's losing a lot of units as well. The storms are okay-ish.
The micro, though, to save that Immortal, I swear, man, every time I see Hero control some of his units, it looks like he's got a touch screen. I always say it looks like he has a touch screen, literally grabbing the units and moving them around. I'm impressed. And the Greater Spire is nowhere near done in time for this next push. I'd really like to see Hero just, he turtles really well. Okay, now he's finally using the Archon. The Archon is such a big threat. You can't really fight it directly with cannon support. You cannot. Well, he's not going to fight it that way, though. I feel like Hero, if he just defended a little bit better at home, he could just end the game, but he's not comfortably defending right now.
With Storm in the picture to defend, he would have been in a better position, but just look at this attack. The Mutalisks are not just, they don't have enough power in order to take down the base. It's not enough Mutalisks, only 20 of them. And these Stalkers, we have 46 of them, are now taking down base after base after base. The run-by attempts by Curious, they are cute, but will they be able to accomplish a lot?
Well, he's going to try to go for some Banelings here. The Stalker's almost getting trapped in a small group. He can't quite go home with them just yet. A good Storm does chase these units away. I'm really curious about the Banelings. They're all done now. Going to force a cancel over here, and here come the Banelings. He may be able to kill some probes. We'll see if there's a storm. Oh, the Zerling is blocking the way of the Banelings. Banelings not really doing anything. He kills cannons, though.
And the Stalkers are in position. If they can blink, they don't have the cooldown. They take down another set of Mutalisks, and Lynx, the base is dead. But at what costs?
Well, Curious has been doing everything he can, and to be quite honest, I don't think anyone could have done as well with these Mutas as he has, but he's fighting a losing battle because he's trying to use a composition that his opponent is already prepared for time and time again. His Hive Tech was so late. 11 Broodlords are on the way, though, and since he did force that army back with that huge counterattack, Curious may be battling his way into this game if he can keep them alive. If he can keep these Broodlords alive, those Stalkers, if they try to blink under, there are a lot of spines. He may have too many, though.
Curious is playing a lot better than I expected him to do, but also a little bit due to the fact that Hero was not using his opportunity, but we don't have the Infestors for the bundles.
No Infestors, so even though he's losing a lot to the spines, the Broodlords will fall. The Immortals alone should be enough to clean up the rest of this, and I think...
I'm actually a bit surprised that Hero, with all the money that he has, was not even preparing for a mothership, that he did not get the fleet beacon. This is something that he should have used as well, but now it looks like it's going to be curtains for Curious. At least he lost a ton of bases. He only has 2 mining bases. He lost his 4th. He lost his 5th.
Look at Hero's
taking
money.
His 4th now. Yeah, exactly. He has the money. He could have teched a lot more.
Oh, he's going to get these Mutas as well.
And Hero didn't even get a second forge. He did not even go for double upgrades.
No. And he is making 9 Stalkers now. He had to remake that Nexus so many times, but it just frankly at this point does not matter.
I would love to see the resources lost.
Yeah, I would love to see that as well. Well, we're going to see more Mutalisk loss right in front of our eyes. Nice defense here, and Curious is losing more and more at this point. It looks like Hero is going to be joining Maru in the winner's match here, as if this continues much longer. GG!
There it is. Curious types GG, leaves the game. Hero is, as Wolf pointed out, advancing to the winner's match with a 2-1 win against Curious. And, well, you mentioned that Curious did a lot better with these Mutalisks as we originally expected, but I think this is also due to the fact that Hero, for some reason, did not use his Templars really as effective as it could. He was really great when it came down to the cannons. I love that he always used 3 or 4 in order to prep his mineral lines. But with additional Templars, at least 1 or 2 in the defenses, it would have been so much better, because as soon as the Mutalisks started focused on 1 cannon, here they clump up and he can use the Storm in order to take them down.
That's why I like 1 Archon and 1 High Templar with some cannons in each base, because if you try to run in and target down the Templar or cannons, they clump and then the Storm hits you and then the Archon hits you as well, and you're like, and you can lose 10 mutas, 15 mutas in like 5 seconds. It's just a scary situation. So it scares the mutas away before they can even fight the cannons. And while they hesitate and fly around the cannons to do extra damage, then you're back, you kill the mutas. If he defended, like you said, just a little bit better at his bases, he could have ended that game earlier. If he could have just, instead of having to send his stalkers back every few seconds. And for that reason, I actually really appreciate the value of Curious's harassment. It actually worked out really well for him. Was it really his success or Hero's miss micro? It's hard to say, but
Hero made a few decisions that he could have afforded more. He had the resource and the income. We saw it in the end that he had like 2,000 minerals and gas. He could have either already gone for Fleet Beacon in order to prepare for these Brood Lords, because when there were 11 Brood Lords morphing, it was definitely a situation where Hero could have lost a lot of units. But there were no infestors for the Fungals. That's something that Hero just simply could not afford. But Hero also didn't get the second forge. He had so many resources banged up, but he didn't go for the double upgrade, something that would have put him even further ahead of his opponent. So a great game that we've seen with small missteps by each player, but well, in the end I think Kira's decision to stick with the Tier 2 army this long worked definitely in favor of Hero in the end.
Absolutely. We're going to have our winners match between Maru and Hero just after our 5-minute break, so don't go anywhere. We'll see you in 5.
They say that I'm dangerous, like everything I touch it falls apart. If 5 out of 10 would kill me now, well I'ma cut to the chase. I used to wish on a star, but nowadays I need space. Satellite, see the black shades, white chain, flashing lights. Never thought I could've felt this low in the highlights. So I ask Phil, is there still another day in paradise? Is there heaven for the forever 27? Could it be 3 years till I'm jamming with legends? I got thousands of fans, but I don't get the obsession. There's a nice guy inside, I guess I never met him. Cause I could buy a fast car, but not even an aeroplane could seem to get me out of here. The pressure and stress are both dying to see the end of me, and the man in the mirror's looking at me like an enemy. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger every time. Bang, bang.
Reaper. 发行 Reaper 发行